Hello, can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. You should be able to now. Can't hear, yeah. How about now? Can you hear me now? Cool, cool. Alright, sorry about that. I've had the microphone plugged in, but it wasn't connected in OBS for some reason, so yeah, it's always something. I'll start again then, seeing as now you can hear me. Oscar, hello, good to have you. The contingency, good to have you back. Hello, Clone Granny, hi, good to have you. And Ian, hello, good to have you back. How you all doing then? You all had a good weekend? What you been up to? I've been mostly just working on video stuff. Been and seen a couple of films at the cinema because we had a cinema open up in our town a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, went and watched Weapons. Don't know if any of you guys seen Weapons yet? My fiance and I, we went to see that. That's the first film we ever saw in our new cinema. And then I've also seen Superman. I went by myself to see that one because fiance, she was at work and I was taking a day off from video stuff and I was just a little bit bored, so I thought, let's go. I wasn't going to go and see Superman at the cinema. I was going to wait for it on streaming or whatever, but I was a bit bored that day, so I thought might as well go and watch it. So yeah. Who out there has seen Weapons or Superman? Let me know. Oscar, you've sent a super chat. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciated. Yeah, if anybody wants to send super chats, you can do so by clicking that little icon next to the chat box with the $sign in it. Every penny helps. Helps me keep the lights on around here. So yeah, it's all very helpful. So thank you. And also the Patreon is linked there in the pinned comment as well. So if anybody wants to become a patron and support me directly, it's that option's there as well. Much appreciated. Contingency. I've not seen either, fortunately/unfortunately. So which one of those films is the fortunately and which one's the unfortunately? Let me know. I think I remember you saying on a previous stream actually that you don't like horror films. So it's probably Weapons is the fortunately, Superman is the unfortunately. But, I liked them both. Both good films. Yeah, we can have a chat about those and we can just talk about anything really. There's not really a particular topic in mind for this stream. I couldn't really think of anything, to be honest. So we'll just chat about whatever really. Yeah, so yeah, I really liked Weapons. That was good. It was weird, which is what you want in a horror film, I suppose. Some things in it were a little bit puzzling. And I think the fact that it was called Weapons, it didn't really have much to do with weapons. I mean, like I say, anybody who's seen the film, let me know in the comments. Warriors of Khartouma. I think you're new here, so yeah, good to have you. Welcome. Are you a fan of the X-Files? I've not watched it for years and years. It's something I've wanted to get round to watching properly now that I'm an adult. Because I think the last time I saw it was when I was a young teenager, I think, and didn't really grasp everything that was going on in it. I know, the basic premise of it and everything is Mulder and Scully. They're tackling all kinds of alien, paranormal, supernatural phenomena, stuff like that. But I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about any particular episode or anything. But I do want to get round to watching that properly at some point. Oh, you're binging it now. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I want to watch. I want to properly watch the X-Files because it's the kind of thing that I like. I'm into stuff with aliens, paranormal phenomena, shadowy organisations, all that sort of thing. That's all right up my alley. So, Yeah, Clone Granny. I rewatched X-Files again a few years ago. It made me appreciate the writing in the show even more. I mean, they knew how to write stuff back then, didn't they? It's a 90s show. Didn't they bring it back in more recent years? Did they do a new series or something? I've got a feeling they did something like that in fairly recent times, you know. It could have been within the past like 10 years or something, I'm not sure, but yeah, Clone Granny. When I was a teen, I was mostly watching it for Duchovny. Right, I see. Yeah, yeah. New seasons aren't great, to be honest. That's pretty much what I expected, to be honest. They did a mini series reboot. Right, okay. I knew they did something new with it. I may give that a miss then if it's not very good. Although, I don't know. How many series of the X-Files did they make originally, like the original run starting in the 1990s? It was quite a few, wasn't it? Was it like 10 seasons or something like that? There's a lot to watch. Usually when something is that big, 9, okay, yeah, nearly 10. Yeah, I knew it was quite a few seasons. When something is that vast, and because it's an American series as well, it's going to have like 20 episodes per season or something like that. Here in England, when they make a show, each series is, so in America you call them seasons, and the show itself is the series. But here we call each season a series, and the show is also called a series. It's just a funny way that we do things here. But it's usually only about 6 episodes per season here. But in America, it tends to be 13, 14, 15, 20, 21 episodes per season. So when you got something that big, it's a lot to tackle if you want to get into it. That's kind of why I never bothered with Game of Thrones and what's the other one? The Walking Dead. Because there's so much of it, and I think The Walking Dead still going, or have they just done a spin-off of that or something? But there's a lot there, and when I see how much is there, I'm like, nah, I don't have time, because I'll watch a couple episodes and then won't be able to carry on with it, and yeah. X-Files, I may make an exception for that though, because the subject matter is exactly the kind of thing that I like. And it's a classic as well. X-Files is just, it's one of them that you should have seen. I should have seen by this point in my life. I'm 36 years old. I've never properly watched the X-Files. I mean, it was on, like my mum used to watch it. It used to be on the TV when I was a kid. But I've never gotten around to watching it myself. Season 10 and 11 totally ditched the alien arc. How could they ditch the alien arc in the X-Files? I mean, I know the X-Files, it's got other things in it, but aliens isn't the aliens like the main thing in the X-Files? How can you ditch that? That's like The Walking Dead getting rid of the zombies. Silly. Yeah, season 10, 11. Oh yeah, I read that. Very disappointing. Yeah. Contingency says that's the bad thing with most new seasons of old shows. Doctor Who, yes, I agree with that. Doctor Who, absolutely awful. I really like old Doctor Who. My favourite is the Tom Baker era. I quite like the Sylvester McCoy as well. And what's the bloke who came after Tom Baker? The blonde guy, Peter something, I think. Yeah, but I like old Doctor Who. I've not watched lots and lots and lots of it, but I do have a row of DVDs just there on my shelf of all the old, not all the old, but a lot of the old Doctor Who's. I don't have any interest in 2005 onwards Doctor Who, to be honest. I've seen some episodes of it. Fiance and I, a few years ago, we watched the one with the... Oh, what's she called? I'm really bad with names. I can't remember names of people, but when it was the female Doctor Who. But I don't think either of us were particularly impressed with that, so didn't really carry on with it. But yeah, new Who, not a fan. Classic Who, I love. Not seen all of it, but a lot of it I have seen and quite like. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Twilight Zone. Yeah, they made newer episodes of the Twilight Zone as well, haven't they? I can imagine it's not as imaginative now as it used to be, because they really were excellent writers. Writing was a craft to screenwriters back, Twilight Zone, I think that was the 60s, 70s, wasn't it, originally? 80s? It was somewhere in that 3-decade window. But yeah, writing was taken very seriously back then. It was you only got there if you were, extremely, exceptionally good. Would you have the opportunity to write for a TV series back then? Yeah, so it won't be as good now because the writers simply aren't as good now, I don't think. X-Files, Stargate. Yeah, Stargate was another one that was always on when I was a kid. My mum used to watch Stargate too, but I never really... I've seen the film years and years ago. It's Kurt Russell, isn't it? I think, in the original film. Series is obviously a different guy, but... yeah, this is all stuff that was on when I was a kid, and I saw it on the TV in the background, but I've never watched it myself properly. I'll have to. Eventually things are lost in translation and eventually ruined. Yeah, that's true, because you've got newer writers that don't really get, like, they'll have a surface level understanding of the original thing, but that's all they can bring to the new series is the surface level. Like, see, I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, where the new writers, they just don't really understand the actual idea of, the old thing. It's just, we've got the look of it right, and we've got these basic parts of it right, but yeah, lost in translation. That's right. Clone Granny. Honestly, I prefer the way the UK does their series. They know when to end a show. US will milk a show way past its shelf life. I suppose so, but saying that, Doctor Who has been being milked dry in recent years. It's actually been cancelled, effectively cancelled. They're saying, Russell T Davies, the guy in charge of it, has said, it's not been cancelled, we're just going away for a few years or something. It's like that, yeah, that's being cancelled. It's effectively an indefinite hiatus. So, yeah, it's cancelled. Doctor Who has been milked. It's been wrung dry. But generally, yeah, we do seem to end shows before they get too stale, And in the old days, it used to be that, like nowadays, if a show doesn't do well after its first season, it's cancelled. Whereas back in the day... with these aren't really science fiction shows or anything. One of them is, but our old shows, particularly sitcoms like Blackadder, Red Dwarf, Only Fools and Horses, things like that, if they generally didn't perform that well in their first series, but they would, instead of just cancelling it, they would look at it and go, okay, what worked, what didn't work, let's tweak some things and try make it a bit, we'll refine it more from the second season and see if it does any better, and generally they do. So that was something they used to do as well. Nowadays it's more like, stuff, it'll either be cancelled really quickly or they'll just drag it out for other reasons, political reasons, but yeah. Yeah, unless we're talking about EastEnders, that's like 40 years, I think. Yeah, it is. The soaps are the things that go on for a really long time. Yeah, EastEnders, Coronation Street. I don't think they make Emmerdale Farm anymore. I've never really been a soaps guy myself. My fiance, she used to watch EastEnders, Coronation Street. Neighbours as well, that's an Australian one, but Neighbours was cancelled. But yeah, they span decades and decades. They just, I guess it's because they're just, I mean, they're very cheap to make, aren't they? It's just people in the same handful of settings over and over, and it costs peanuts to make them. You don't have special effects or anything like that. So that's probably why. And people just like to have them on in the background as well. And a lot of people just like them because it's kind of... It's funny because it's not escapism, really, because it's so similar to people's actual lives. You know, just things like, I mean, in this country, like going to work, going to the pub, seeing your friends, having internal family dramas, things like that. That's what people deal with in the real world. And you would think they'd want a bit of escapism from that, but they just watch the stuff that happens to them in real life. It's always... That's kind of why soaps never really interested me, to be honest. I just like really weird fiction stuff to watch, not super duper realistic, mundane kind of things. I mean, that's not knocking anybody who does enjoy them. Like I said, my fiance, she doesn't watch them anymore. Neighbours was her favourite, but that one was cancelled. So, but yeah, you know, it's never really been my thing. But they do go on for a long time, don't they? Warriors of Khartoum says Farscape was another amazing show, batshit as hell, but it is in the best way possible. What's Farscape? I don't think I've heard of that one. Farscape. It sounds science fictiony, from the name Farscape. Let me know what it is. Don't know that one. How would Warhammer handle Q? Dale Snyder, good to have you. Hello. How would Warhammer handle them? They'd try and annihilate them. That's the whole thing with the Warhammer, is annihilating every Xeno that you come across. No alien life is allowed to exist. This is our universe. So I'm not that knowledgeable on Warhammer, but I know the basic underpinning thing there is no aliens are allowed to exist, and we just have to exterminate every last one of them. So they would... I don't know how... I mean, the Q are much more advanced, even because it's 40,000, isn't it? So that's only, you know, about 40-odd thousand, 30-something, 38,000, whatever it is. Yeah, 38,000, give or take, years from now. The Q are a billion-year-old race, so they're going to be way more advanced. So I guess if the Astartes did come across the Q, it would... the Astartes and, you know, humanity would probably just wind up in the same predicament as the Star People, I'd imagine. Because, I mean, in Warhammer, we've lost a lot of our technology by that point, haven't we? It's all the stuff is because you've got the what are they called? The ones who, you know, they deal with technology and machinery, trying to sort of put it together and understand it and things, because a lot of it's still there, but we've lost the understanding of it and how to use it and everything. So we're not even... I mean, we're able to travel through space in 40,000, but a lot of the finer technology is just fallen by the wayside and don't know how to use it anymore. So we're not that technologically advanced, really. So I think the Q probably would just annihilate us. Let's see. Go back. Warriors of Khartoum, not sci-fi, but another amazing show. Cobra Kai, a sequel done right. That's true. I've not seen Cobra Kai, but my brother has, and he told me that it's very, very good. It's a really good, and that's gone on for, I think it's got 5 seasons now, hasn't it? So that's something I'd like to watch. I mean, I do like the original Karate Kid films. I mean, the first one specifically. I can't remember the second and third all that much, to be honest. I never saw the one with Jackie Chan and Will Smith's kid, or, you know, whatever he is. Never saw that one. But Cobra Kai, yeah, that's a sequel done right. And there is that new film. I don't know if it's come out yet, but that actually joins the two, doesn't it? The original films with, you know, Mr. Miyagi, and this more recent one with Jackie Chan. And it turns out they're actually in the same timeline. They're not separate, which is when I saw the trailer, I was surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay, that's quite cool. So I don't know if that film is out yet, or if it's already been out and has passed me by. I'm not sure. I wonder if that film's any good. Clone Granny, like a cozy show to watch, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The soaps are probably just cozy, and you can just put it on and not have to really think too much about it. Just have it on, and yeah, sure. Voyager, Peter Ian Staker, right? Yeah. I've seen Hot Fuzz. Clone Granny, another sci-fi. Anthony show from the 60s. Right, I see. Okay, Voyager says hello from across the pond. An American friend. Good to have you. Oh, okay, Clone, you meant anthology, not Anthony. I was wondering what an Anthony show was. Yeah. Okay, so that Farscape is an anthology show. Cool, that's alright. That's cool. I like anthology shows. There's, what's that one? The Outer Limits. That's a good anthology that I really like. I've got a DVD box set just up there. I was trying to remember the name of it, but that's a good one. Love, Death and Robots. That's another good anthology show. Black Mirror, of course. Very cool. Yeah, would you ever do a video on Warhammer, the fifth big guy? Good to have you back. Hello. No, I don't think I would do Warhammer because it's been pretty well covered, to be honest. There's several channels, really good ones that really go in depth into it. They know it like the back of their hand. They know all the ins and outs. They know all the lore right from the beginning to right up to now. And my knowledge is just so like pitiful in comparison. I wouldn't feel like I had the right to make any videos on it, to be honest. There's not really anything I can bring to that, to Warhammer. I'm not that into it precisely because it's so vast already. I just don't know where to start with it. I've tried to get into it. I've looked up lists of books to read. Like I've never done the figure painting or anything like that. It looks cool, but it's just a lot of money to spend for me. I'm a bit tight. I don't like spending much money. But I've looked up lists of books to read on Warhammer, like which one should I read if I'm new to the universe? And I read the first three of the Horus Heresy, which are prequels. But even those, I found they were making references to things that I wasn't familiar with because I'm not into Warhammer. Even the prequels and the ones that they say you can read to, as your jumping off point, they're still making references to things that they still have an assumption that you know something about Warhammer. And I don't know, I like Warhammer, I like the aesthetic, I like the idea of it and everything, but it's just too big for me now. I don't have the patience to grapple with it, personally. Excuse me. Let's see. Farscape, 1999 to 2003. A human pilot gets transported to another galaxy and starts getting hunted by everyone in the universe for his wormhole tech. Oh, right. That's interesting. 1999 to 2003. So it's a vintage show. I'll have to have a look at that one, I think. Another one that came out around that sort of time that I've never watched but want to is Firefly, because I think that was 2000 or something like that, so around that sort of time. I don't think they made many of that though, but everybody... And there's Serenity as well, which is in that series too. But yeah, Farscape, I'll have to check that one out. Clone Granny, Lewityn09 is a good channel to learn about Warhammer 40k lore and factions. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'd if I do decide, once I've done all my reading that I'm doing at the moment and decide that I'd like to get into Warhammer properly, then I will start looking for YouTube channels. Because that would be the better. I've tried reading books to get into it, like novels, and and it's not really done the job. So I think probably YouTube channels would be a better introduction. Actually, we're quite fortunate that we've got that option now. Because I can't imagine how somebody back in the day, like if you were trying to get into Warhammer in 1996 or something like that, how would you? I guess you would just have to like hang out at shops where you can play the game and stuff, and you can ask people there. That that's the old way of doing it. Before YouTube, you had to talk to people and ask them. So that's probably what you did back then, actually. Clone says, "Wait up! I got Farscape and Outer Limits mixed up. Oops. Oh, I see. Farscape is not an anthology. Oh, okay. But still, Farscape seems like an interesting show." Contingency says, "I'll be honest, you really shouldn't get into the game of 40k because it'll cost you." Yeah, exactly. Like I said before, it's I don't like spending a lot of money, and you're going to be spending a lot. I mean, people spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on it. I don't have that kind of money to blow on stuff like that, to be honest. Even if I wanted to. I think a lot of people are just using 3D printers to print off their own figures now, as a cost-saving measure, I think, or in protest to the choices that they've made in recent years. But yeah, it's an expensive hobby. Most hobbies will set you back a bit, but Warhammer is definitely one of those where you're certainly going to feel it in your wallet. So yeah, that's probably the main reason I'm not really going to be doing it. I'll read the books because you can pick those up for a few pounds off eBay, but the figures and that, no, I'm not gonna. And it's more of a social thing as well, isn't it? You play the games with, you do it to play it with people and sort of socialise and stuff like that. And it's not really, I don't know, I've never really been that way inclined, to be honest. I'm not somebody that needs to have friends and socialise with people, so it's more, it's a group activity. If you enjoy hanging out with people and stuff like that, I keep my social circle pretty small, so it's just not for me. It's not for me personally. Clone says, yeah, that was the one with what's her name from the later seasons of Stargate, that black-haired British lady. Don't know. Not sure. Not as familiar. I'm not that familiar with Stargate. Claudia Black. Oh, I've heard of Claudia Black. Oh, right, okay. Aussie. Oh, is she Australian? See, I don't know who she. I've heard the name, but I don't know who she is. She might be Aussie. Carl. Hello, Carl. Good to have you. Are you into Gears of War lore? I was back in the day. I mean, back when I had an Xbox 360. 2007, that sort of time. 2007 to about 2012 or so. When I had a 360, I did play the original Gears of War games. Really liked the first two. Can't remember much of the third one. And then I think they did a spin-off where you're not playing as Marcus Phoenix anymore. You're playing as one of the other characters, I believe. But I never played that one. But I did like Gears of War back in the day. Is that still going? Are they still making Gears of War games? I'm not much of a gamer anymore these days, to be honest. I used to be back then, but I'll occasionally play games now. I play a bit of Cyberpunk every so often. I've got a few like indie games off Steam that I play. I've got Subnautica as well, which I've had a few goes on, but I've not really properly got into it yet. I've just, I don't know, it's hard finding the time and the motivation for games, really. I prefer reading these days. It's just, gaming's not really something that I do that much of anymore. I'd like to. But when I get the opportunity, I'm just like, nah, I'd rather just sit back with a book. I'm too lazy for games these days. Excuse me one sec, just going to have a quick drink. I'm back. Right. Farscape got a movie as well. The Peacekeeper Wars. Served as a series finale. Cool. That's good. So I'm guessing the series ended on a cliffhanger then, but they ended up making a movie just to finish it off. Star Wars is an absolute dumpster fire now. Disney completely destroyed that franchise. Yeah, they have. I've not been interested in anything Star Wars related since. So I like obviously the original trilogy. People call it the sequel trilogy. I just call it the original trilogy. Obviously, I like them. The prequel trilogy, episode 1, 2, and 3, they're okay, but they don't feel like the same thing to me. Because they're set before it, just on an aesthetic level. They're set before it, but everything looks so slick, and it's all CGI. But then, apparently, a few years later, it all goes to looking really analog and like boxy and 70s-ish. And it's just, I don't know, I could just never get around that in my own head. And then the sequel trilogy, the ones with Rey and Finn and that. I watched the first one of that. I can't even remember what that's called, to be honest. But I haven't seen the other two. I've not seen any of the shows like The Mandalorian or anything like that. It just doesn't interest me at all. It's definitely one of those that has just been completely wrung dry. Like, they're squeezing everything out of Star Wars they could possibly get. And, I haven't seen any of the shows or much of the modern films. I did like... I'll tell a lie, actually. I did like... what's that one that came out in 2016? It was the one about the guys who get the plans to the Death Star. I can't remember what that's... I'm bad with names of people and of things. It's weird, I just can't... I think it's because it's a bit late here as well. It's 10 o'clock. And me being 36 years old, I get tired quite early on, so I can't think what these things are called. But obviously, I'm sure somebody will put it in the comments. What was that one called that came out? I think it was 2016. They got the Death Star plans in that film. I'll know it as soon as I see it. I liked that one, but everything else, I've got zero interest at all. It's just, I don't know. It's all Disneyfied. That's why I'm not interested in the modern Marvel stuff post Avengers Endgame. Like, when Avengers Endgame finished, it was like, cool, yeah, that's pretty much, I don't really need to see anymore. Even though there was lots of superheroes and characters that hadn't been introduced yet. We hadn't seen the X-Men in that universe yet, and things like that. I didn't need to see any more after that, but they've kept it going and going and going, and it's gonna keep going and going. They're all losing money, and none of them have got the same feel that they used to have. But it's just they insist on just churning them out. Star Wars and Marvel, both owned by Disney now. So Disney is just it's just a content factory now, isn't it? They don't really make anything. They used to be such a cultural cornerstone of American culture. Disney was, with the original animated films, The Lion King, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, things like that. They couldn't really do anything wrong back then, but now it seems like they're doing everything wrong. So I'm just not interested in anything that they do now. Excuse me. Carl, yeah, they're up to 5 now with a few spin-offs and a lot of comics. Right, yeah. Yeah, contingency. Star Wars has been decimated by Disney, let me tell you that. Oh, don't worry, you can fit our ship into the bigger one to destroy it. Then why didn't they use that maneuver on the Death Star? See, yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's stuff like that. It's all... it's like... That's the thing about coming up with things that are set before, prequels, basically, is after you see the original, you can think about all of these ways they could have done things in the original, and then when you make the prequel, you make them do that, but then timeline-wise, it's like, well, if they could think of it before that big event in the film that was made first, why didn't they do it then? And it just coats it with this thick, globulous membrane of unbelievability after that. I don't like all this. I don't like all this additional stuff that gets made. You know, Star Wars. They should just leave it alone. Personally, I don't consider anything canon besides the first 6 films, and maybe that one they made where they found the Death Star plans. But I can't remember the name of that film. Can't remember it. But yeah, somebody drop it in the comments for me, because that's going to drive me mad. Ian, yeah, they're making a prequel for Gears of War. Oh, I see. Right. Well, so I guess you'll be playing as a young Marcus Phoenix in that then. That'd be quite cool. Yeah, I may consider getting that, because I had a lot of happy days back then playing Gears of War, because at that time, when I had my Xbox 360, from about 2007 to 2011, 12, I was working this factory job, and it was 12-hour shifts, and it was in horrible conditions. It was a freezing cold. It was like we call them ready meals in this country. It's basically those, I think maybe you call them TV dinners in America, but they're in like a foil pot with a clear film on the top, and it got like chicken or whatever inside them. It's just meals that they come ready-made, and then you just put them in the oven, cook them, and yeah, it was a factory that made those for a shop in this country called Marks and Spencer, and it was all chicken meals and things like that, and it was a horrible job. Absolutely hated it. It was awful, miserable. I had a miserable time working there, and I worked there for 4.5 years. But a lot of my free time when I wasn't working, it was spent playing the 360, because I didn't have much else to do at that point. I was, I worked there from when I was 17 until I was 21, I think. So, and because the hours were so long, I didn't really have much of a social life. So a lot of my free time was spent playing the 360, and I played a lot of Gears of War back then. So I have a lot of happy memories playing Gears of War, because it was a way for me to escape the humdrum misery of my working life at the time. So a Gears of War prequel, if they do it right, that could be quite interesting. I'd probably quite like to play that, to be honest. And I miss those kinds of third-person games as well in that style. The Gears of War. I mean, they recently released Warhammer Space Marine 2, which is in that kind of old style. Yeah, me and my brother have been playing a bit of that, actually. He got it on his PS5, so he's brought his PS5 round here a couple of times, and we've played some of that. Yeah, it's a good game. I played fairly recently, actually, probably about a year ago. When the second one came out, I got the first one on Steam because it was down on sale for like £5, something like that. So I bought it, and I got all the way up to the final boss, but it kept killing me. It killed me about 3 times, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put this down for now. I'll come back to it later. But I haven't come back to it. So I need to just... All I have to do is the final boss on that now, and then I'll have completed the game, but I've just not gone back to it yet, because I just decided not to... Didn't want to get too annoyed with it by... that's what it's like. If you keep trying to do it and it keeps killing you, it's just like... you get annoyed and you don't want to play it anymore. I may have to get back to that, though, just to finish it off. Carl says E-Day should be fun. What's E-Day? E-Day? What's E-Day? Oscar says, what is today's topic? Just so I don't say or ask something random that is beyond what we talk about. There is no main topic, Oscar. It is completely random. I couldn't really think of a topic for this one, to be honest, so we're just talking about whatever. I started it off by talking about the 2 films that I'd seen recently, Weapons and Superman. But feel free to ask anything you like. Just think of this as like an AMA or something. It's not. There's no real structure to this one today. Warriors of Khartouma. He made me retroactively hate Luke Skywalker. Yeah, they complete. I mean, I haven't seen the film, but from what I know, they just turned him into an absolute sad sack, didn't they? Like he was He was literally the saviour of everything in the original films. And then in this most recent one, he's just hiding on his island. He's all dishevelled. He's like a sad old man. I've seen the clip of him drinking that thing, and it all goes down his beard. I'm like, that's such a, it's a purposeful humiliation thing, I think. Because he's, we won't go into that, but yeah, he's not the ideal hero for the modern age, shall we say. So they want to do away with him. Just like they gave Han Solo a pretty... I thought that was quite a humiliating death for him, really. After everything he had been through, he was a beloved character. We finally see him again, and he just gets killed and thrown off a bridge by his son, Ben, or whatever. And it's like, seriously? That's how he goes out? This is Han Solo we're talking about. And he gets stabbed and thrown off a bridge. It's just so... It just doesn't sit right with me. He should be given a noble... I mean, it was a noble death in a way, because he was trying to talk his son around from... back around from being on the dark side. So he was doing the right thing there, but the death itself was just... you don't even have a body. You don't even have his body to pay respects to, because he falls down this thing. It's like... like I said, I've not seen the two films after that, so... I don't know if he actually survived that somehow or what. I don't know, but I've just got no interest in watching them. Rogue One, that's it. Thank you, Warriors. Yeah, it's Rogue One. I didn't mind that film. That was entertaining. I didn't hate that film when I watched it. I thought it was okay. But yeah, to me, the only films are Rogue One and the first 6 that were made. But everything else after that, all the shows, not interested at all. Clone says, I'm actually curious about the new Alien series on FX. Yeah, Alien Earth. I want to see that, but I want to wait until it's all there and ready to be watched. Because I haven't got if I like it, I'm going to be like, I can't wait to see I can't wait a week to see the next one. I'm just impatient like that, so I want to wait for it all to be available to watch so I can just binge it in one go. It's just the way I like to do things, really. Oscar says, did you see the movie Outlander 2008? No, I haven't seen that. No, I'll have to give that one a watch. Outlander. What's Outlander about? Warriors of Khartoum, guilty pleasure for me has always been Ancient Aliens on History Channel. Yes, I went through a real phase back in 2016 to 2015 to about 2017, about 2 years. I loved watching Ancient Aliens. I read a lot of the stuff as well. Like I read quite a few Eric von Daniken books, quite a few Graham Hancock books as well. I used to love watching Ancient Aliens. It was great. And I've actually got a couple of videos on the Bewarecast on my channel. I don't know, do you remember, what was it, a couple of years ago? There was that, those alien remains. Looked like a small mummified alien was apparently found in, was it Peru? It was somewhere in South America it was found. And people were real like, oh, they found an alien, but the guy who found it, Jaime something, can't remember his surname, is like he's a known hoaxer. I hadn't heard of him before then, but yeah, he'd made it up. Basically, he'd made a fake model and was pretending he'd found a mummified alien. I talked about it. I went through a bit of a phase on the channel when I'd moved into this house. Actually, I didn't have much time because I was moving in and stuff, so I was just doing unscripted videos, and one of them was about that. I might have done 2 about it actually, but Ancient Aliens, not watched it for a while, but it's something I have a lot of fond memories of. Giorgio Tsoukalis with his crazy hair, I read a lot of Nick Redfern as well. He's the bald guy who appears on Ancient Aliens, a bald English guy. I've read quite a few of his books as well. Good times. Clone Granny, thank you very much. You've sent me a super chat. because I appreciate you and your channel. That is all. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. $10 super chat. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, if anybody else wants to send super chat, feel free. Every penny helps. Helps me keep doing what I'm doing. Yeah, thank you again, Clone Granny. Really appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. What's that name? Askay, I think. People always ask about Team Star Wars or Star Trek. There is no love for Stargate, my favourite. Yeah, see, that's the third underrated Star franchise, isn't it? It's not just Star Wars and Star Trek, it's Stargate as well. Yeah, so I guess Stargate, because Stargate isn't as... All you've got is, I think, one film and a series. Star Trek, you've got all kinds, Star Wars as well. But yeah, Stargate should get more love. I agree. Oscar Hanau says, really watch it. It's about Vikings. Oh, this will be the... Was it Outlander, did you say it was called? It's about Vikings, future-like human, one guy, and an alien beyond Earth's tech at the time. Really good movie. That sounds interesting. A mix of... So it's about Vikings. Is it about Viking-like people in the future, like space Vikings, or is it actual Vikings from the past, but they're visited by somebody from the future? Either way, it sounds pretty cool. Warrior says, all right, guys, got to go. Be well, beware, cast. Cool. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon. Yeah, have a good one. Oh, it's like ASCII bowl. ASCII, that's how you pronounce it. Okay, cool. Fair enough, ASCII. Cool. Yeah, so Space Vikings sounds like a great storyline. Yeah, it does, yeah. I like that aesthetic. Though there was those... what's that recent Zack Snyder series that ended up bombing? Like, it was a Netflix... I think a couple of Netflix films. What were they called? Yeah, I can't remember what they were called, but I mean, they were dreadful films. But right at the very beginning of the first one, you had what looked like space Vikings on the planet. Before that huge ship came down, and it was essentially the empire of that universe with the space Nazis. I can't remember what those films are called, though. Like I say, I've got a bad memory. I can't remember the names of things like that. But I mean, those films were bad, but that initial intro to that film I really liked, because I was like, oh, Space Vikings, I like that. The rest of the film was god awful, but yeah, I'd like to see more. So ASCII says from the Alien movies. What do you mean? Yeah. So, let's see. Yeah, we've been going for nearly an hour. Not too bad. Yeah, normal for the past couple of streams, I've been reading Olaf Stapledon's Last and First Men, but I noticed when I was reading them the past couple of times, the viewers just went, it just a drop off, and it kind of affects the algorithm when that happens. So sad to say, for the people that were sticking around for that, I'll probably not be doing that anymore, because the viewer level going down like that indicates something wrong to the YouTube algorithm. So sorry, I won't be able to read that anymore. I may just make a video about Last and First Men at some point soon to make up for that. But yeah, it's was affecting the performance and stuff with the algorithm when that happened. So yeah, I'm sorry to say I won't be able to read it anymore at the end of the streams, I'm afraid. Contingency says Rebel Moon. Yeah, it was Rebel Moon, that's it. Yeah, they sucked, but I'll take what I can take sci-fi wise. Yeah, it's a shame they weren't very good. Zack Snyder is perhaps the most hit and miss director, in modern times, because he is one where it's like everyone absolutely adored him when he did 300 and Watchmen. Like he was, those films were like everyone loved them. They thought they were great. But then when it came to doing Man of Steel, it was everyone loved him, so everyone hated him. Then same again with Batman v Superman. And then when it was Justice League, and he had that whole thing where his daughter sadly passed away and he had to leave, Joss Whedon stepped in to direct Justice League, and it was a bad film after he had had his way with it. Everybody loved Zack Snyder again. We want the Snyder Cut, we want the Snyder Cut. And everybody loved him again, so he'd gone from being loved to being loathed to being loved again. And then when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, everyone loved him because they loved that film. But then when Rebel Moon came out, everyone hated him again, despised him, and people just hate him again. So he's, incredibly hit and miss. I wanted to like the Rebel Moon. I mean, I'd heard that that it was a bad film before I watched it. I watched it out of curiosity more than anything. And at the start, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't bad. It's just people just don't like Zack Snyder. But then as the rest of the film dragged on, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can see what they're getting at. Not a great film. Haven't seen the second one. Don't plan to. Ian says, anyone remember Cowboys versus Aliens? Yeah, that was was it Daniel Craig who was in that? I saw it once around the time it first, I didn't see it in the cinema, but I did see it not long after it had come on to like TV or something back then. It was. I remember thinking it was okay. It didn't leave much of an impression on me, if I'm honest. I don't remember much about it, but I remember enjoying it at the time. But it's one of them that seemed like it was going to be a big thing, but then wasn't. If I remember correctly. Oscar says Vikings from the past and a future human with a reptile-like alien. Vikings from past behaviour and mentality versus this alien and help from a future human. I actually think you would like that movie. Yeah, that sounds like something I'd really like, to be honest. My favourite subjects, I guess you could boil it down to my favourite subjects in fiction are the past and the future. So when you see the past and the future come together like that, I'm in. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Outlander, it was called, wasn't it, from 2008? So I'll look into that one. ASCII says aliens with the long black heads, called movie series is called Alien, so original. Also Alien versus Predator. Oh yeah. So I mean, I know the Alien films. Called Alien, so original. I mean, it was original back then. It came out in 1979, so most films up to that point, if it was like an alien, it would be like, it would have like a sentence for the title of the film, wouldn't it? It would be like the invisible monster men from Mars or something like that, or the black goo creature from the planet Xenu or something. So that was so to just have one word as the title, that was original back then. Seems unoriginal now, 50 years on or whatever it is, but back in the day that was pretty cutting edge, I think. Christopher Morgan, hello, good to have you. Snyder has always been hit or miss for me. Yeah, I think he has for everybody, really. He really he's one of those directors that needs to be wrangled. I think if he's got people above him reining him in from doing what he wants to do all the time, you'll probably get a decent film from him, like 300 and Watchmen. But then those two, I believe that, I mean, Watchmen, I've read the graphic novel a long time ago, but I read it, and I've seen the film, and most of it I think is pretty much frame for frame the same. So some stuff was taken out, obviously to fit the runtime of the film, but it followed the graphic novel, which was already popular, so that one did okay. 300, that was kind of a phenomenon when it came out, I think. Everybody liked that. But yeah, he just seems to be really up and down. I think it's when, and especially with Rebel Moon, that was all him. That was his attempt at making his own Star Wars. So with it being all him, it was probably not going to be very good because he didn't have somebody with higher authority than him saying, no, you can't do that, you can't do this, do this instead, and stuff like that. When he's got that, he makes good films. When he's on his own, terrible, awful. You know, he needs a handler, really. But yeah, very, very hit and miss director. So been going for about an hour. I might call it a night there, because like I said, I don't really have a topic in mind for this stream. So if anybody's got any last minute comments or questions or anything, I think now would be the time to get them in while you still can. I'll just give it a couple more minutes just in case. But yeah, this has been a fun stream. Quite enjoyed it. Just gonna have a drink again. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, it's been a good stream. Talked about a range of different things. There may or may not be a stream next Monday. I'll let you know. Just got a few things going on next week, so there might be a stream, there might not. But I'll let you know in the interim. Contingency, last minute question. How's work on the telescope going so far? Yeah, it's going okay. Progress is being made slowly but surely. It's been more about coming up with concepts for different planets so far, because I want there to be a range of all different kinds of worlds that they look at. Mostly what I've got nailed down so far is an ocean world. I've and the story of the person. She's a young woman. The character is a young woman. She's called Omeline Trent, and she goes down in history as the first person to discover alien life on this ocean planet. But that's the chapter I've got written. In that, I've got several chapters written, but that's the one about alien life being discovered for the first time. But now it's about coming up with concepts for different worlds and the kinds of life forms, because I want it to have a mix of stuff that looks recognizable to us. It resembles things we find here on Earth, but I want to also have things that are completely out there, like you don't find anything like that on Earth. So obviously it's difficult coming up with that kind of stuff, but that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. So progress is being made. I don't know when it's going to be released. It may be a couple of years before it's ready to be released, to be honest. But still working on it, and it's good to see that there's somebody actually interested in it. So yeah, appreciate that. Oscar says, yeah, watch Outlander 2008. I will. I'll check it out. I'd never heard of it before, but I'll make a note of it and I'll watch Outlander. Sounds like just the kind of thing that I would like. So, okay, we've been going for about an hour. So, yeah, I'll say thank you very much for watching. And also for anyone who doesn't know, if you want to watch these streams back after they've finished, they're actually going up onto a second channel that I've got now, which is called the channel is called Bewarecast Live from the Void. It'll be linked. I think I've got it on my main channel under the other channels thing near the bottom. If not, I'll do that now. But because basically it's for boring algorithm reasons. These streams get lower views than my videos do, so it confuses the algorithm when you've got something with low views and something with higher views, and it starts to not recommend the videos based on the lower views of the streams. So it's a pain, but I have to have these streams not re-uploaded to the main channel but to the second channel. So they'll be on the second channel. This one will be tomorrow, if anyone wants to rewatch it. Yeah, Bewarecast Live from the Void. That's what the channel's called. Anyway, yeah, thanks everybody for watching. It's been a fun stream, and thank you to Oscar and Clone Granny for your super chats. Very much appreciated. Yeah, this has been good. Hopefully I'll see you next Monday for a stream, but if not, I'll let you know in the meantime. But yeah, okay. This has been the Bewarecast. I'll catch you next Monday, hopefully. Right. Take care, guys. Cheers.